after a couple years of marriage, and right now we have 5 children, 1 in heaven, so 6 total, I became a mother. A lot of things started surfacing in my life, negative things. I was angry all the time. I just all these emotions. I didn't understand what was going on with me. And I realized from a young age, all the way up to where I was at that point in my life, I stuffed so much that I couldn't stuff it anymore. And it was coming out on my kids. It was coming out in my marriage. It was coming out in my relationship with God. And even this anger I kind of developed. And so I went to counseling, and I got a really good spiritual director, and a lot of time in adoration. I really dived into my own brokenness, my own woundedness, and that was hard. One, it was hard to go to counseling because when you think of counseling, you think of, well, something's wrong with you. You've got a problem, and it's a shameful kind of condemnation that surrounds getting help. Then I realized there's nothing to be ashamed of to get healed, to be healed, to go through that process of healing so that I can get rid of the wounds, get rid of the handicap that I was holding on to become that strong woman of God that He was calling me to be. And a lot of stuff came up that happened to me when I was a child that I didn't even know was there. And that was really hard for me. And having to go through all of those all of the yucky feelings and things that come up with that, you have to face that. That took some serious courage that I didn't have, but that God gave me. It was a 3-year major healing process in my life because these things didn't happen just overnight, and you're not going to get healed by them overnight. You know, it's a process. And our God, Jesus, is gentle, and He lets you go as far as He knows you can handle. Because certain realizations I had, I could only handle those in that moment and not drop more. Go to adoration. Cry for hours if you need to. Write letters to these people and burn them, throw them, like get it out in one way or another. And I felt so light. I felt just this weight lifted off of me. He will lead you. He will guide you. Give Him your healing process because He sees everything. He sees the ugly. He sees the good. He sees the bad. He sees the memories. And it's like He'll lead you along. He led me along so gently. And it took some time, but in the end, the rewards of that, I feel so much stronger and confident and not living under the secrets, not living under the fear, not always like just wondering, am I going to be found out, or am I being a hypocrite, am I being fake, and having all these struggles. And if you can hand them over to the King of Kings, He will take care of you. There's nothing too big that He can't handle or walk you through, that in the end, He's not going to give you the grace to deal with. And I realized that I was allowing the devil to have so much power or control, or just the vices I was getting, by keeping that wound, by holding on to it, by hiding it, not bringing it to the light. And that's where he really had that control. Because if you don't heal those wounds, he'll just stay there and fester, just like an infection. It'll get worse and it'll spread. It's not worth it. The pain, I'd rather go through the pain than go through generations of just carrying this around. Because if you don't deal with it, then your kids are going to deal with it, good or bad. You will hand it down to your children. And I said, in my life, in my family, with my kids, it stops with me. This will stop with me because I did not want to give the same thing to my kids, and I was going down that path. The things that you get into just because you don't want to face it, you know, but if you could fight past that fear, it's like God just wants to free you, and He loves you. And this was huge for me, that God loved me exactly where I was at. He loved me in all of my yuck, and He loved me in my sin and in my brokenness and all of the things that I couldn't stand about myself. That's where He wanted to love me, because only He could heal me in those areas if I let Him. The biggest gift that God gave me out of my healing process is that I'm not ashamed anymore. I can actually sit here, which is a miracle in itself, okay? I am not ashamed of what happened to me. I'm not ashamed of the things that I did, and half of them I can't even remember. It's really a beautiful gift that God really makes you just so pure, and He takes the yuck from you. But in replace, He gives you something so much more.